Hello, my name's Patrick, and I'm going to do a bit of a detached observer about Sedona, Arizona. And I first moved to Sedona in 1995, and I lived there for about 18 years. And in that time, it went from a rural town, very, very nice town. It was really rough. Didn't have any sidewalks. Most people didn't have city sewer, things like that, and it was modest people, modest budgets, and modest income, and the houses were older, and it was very interesting. It was some Jeep tour companies, and it was really broken up into a couple people. I would say retirees, artists, and cowboy hippie slash. And then the Osho people came in. They've been there for a while, which is the Rajneesh people. They came down and they had an academy there where people flew in from all over the world, especially Europe, to take classes in Rajneesh philosophy and that sort of thing. And they were all very nice people and a lot of new agey type people around. And they start coming in later, the new age type. I forget her name. Her last name was Bryant. And she used to hang out with Sun Bear. Sun Bear was a Chippewa medicine man who wrote a book, and the Indians, Native Americans, didn't like it because they thought he gave up secrets, but he didn't. It was just basic stuff. He was a nice man. He was just trying to get people to work together, and he fulfilled a dream. And I thought he did a good job. And I thought the animosity from some of the Native Americans was really low vibration, wasn't necessary, and they didn't know what they were talking about. He had a dream. The dream told him to do it. He had a physical dream, and you get it in the book. Anyway, that wasn't my point. The point was Brian was this woman. I never met her. I think she lives on the East Coast now. I don't know. She's the one who started the vortexes about it. She experienced them, and then she started writing about them. And between her and Sun Bear, they wrote a magazine, and I forget what it was called. I actually subscribed to it back in the 80s, I believe. And it was kind of neat. You know, everything was informal back there, and if you were exploring and looking for ideas on life. Anyway, eventually she left, and then there's people in town now that claim they just made it up and stuff. But when you bring very intuitive people to the vortexes, they feel it, and they describe what it is and what direction it's going to. It's very interesting, and it's always consistent. It's always the same. But there's a really nasty element in Sedona right now, and they're attacking everything under the sun. They attack Christians. They attack New Agers. They're very aggressive people, and most of them are very low frequency and vibration. This is my experience. It's gotten worse since I left. I left about 5 years ago. And this is, I guess, a testimony, because I think Sedona was always a very special place. When I first got there, I went hiking all over. I got a job immediately. There are no good paying jobs in Sedona. And eventually I got blacklisted. I couldn't even get a new age job or a minimum wage job. They would sabotage me, try to get me fired. And that's who it is. It's a really super vicious people. They went there to do black magic on the vortexes. That's what you have to understand. So they took over a power spot. That's a great place for healing and visions and a vision quest, grail quest, whatever you're trying to do. And it attracted people like that, and it formed an informal community of sorts. And there wasn't really any organized, New Age or philosophy. Anyway, when I first got there, I went to, one of the days I went to, I forget what you call it, about enchantment. Enchantment's a very odd and strange place. strange things happen out there, and it's near the that vortex, whatever it's called, Boynton. No, I forget what it's called. There's an airport and all that. I know them all. I've been there several times. There was no one there. You park anywhere you want, and it wasn't organized like they're doing now. And remember, Spirit and God is for everyone. It is free. It is free. And now it's like we have these expert guide tours and shit like that. They're just nonsense. Just nonsense. You are responsible for your spiritual growth. The vortexes are just helpful. That's all. They're helpful. They are not God. They're just helpful tools along the way. Just like there's people you run into who are helpful. And anyway, that vortex, I walked at one time and I walked all the way back, and on the left is the tennis courts. And one day there was a horse head. Somebody severed a horse's head in a sacrifice and put it on the path that leads to, and it's by the tennis courts. And as the tennis court path comes out, you're walking the hiking path, and they put it there. It was meant as a warning and a black magic ceremony. And again, they're killing a horse for their ceremony. These are really dark people. They took over Sedona. They took over the city government, the city chamber of commerce, everywhere, every business. And if you open up a business, they'll probably run you out of town. All right? So, here. So let's do something here. Here's my, I'm a diviner. I'm very good, and I'm connected. All right? Leave it at that. If you don't believe me, move on. So, show me Sedona naturally with no humans in it. The vibration of the town. The vibration of the air. Do you see that? Boom. Bang on me. Okay, show me the number, and the number is 10. All right? That's 10. Over here is 0. Most towns are around 3, 4, or 5 in America. All right? 3, 4, right? And that would be here. That's a 10. Super. Could you show me, I'm going to move my microphone. Could you show me Sedona today? The vibration. Sedona today. All the vibration of the whole town. Go. Loving Christ. It is a 0. Do you see that? A 0. Could you show me, let's just make up any town in the world. Bayfield. It's a town called Bayfield. What is Bayfield? Can you see it? Bayfield is a 5. Could you give me Beloit, Wisconsin? Beloit, Wisconsin. Probably the same. All right, doesn't move. New York City.
What's that?
I'm talking. 0. All right. I'm sorry. Part 2. I was interrupted. Sorry. I have a lot to say about Sedona because it is one of those special places. The people came into Sedona later. It's about 2003, after 9/11. You remember that? So that was about 2001, 9/11. And they came in and they changed the town completely. And these were different people. They weren't artists. They weren't retirees. They were extremely greedy people. And about that time, I had a vision. And I went underground in the vision to Sedona. And they have underground streams. And they all come from Oak Creek. And there's an underground stream. And I was walking through it. And I had a spirit guide with me, a very high being. And it was pointed out to me through telepathy in the dream. It's very clear, very powerful vision. And he told me, what do you see? And I saw that there was no water in the underground stream. They're just puddles. And he goes, exactly, the water has been. Because water is emotional, spiritual energy. And these people that came to Sedona, they took all the government jobs. They made the fire department from a volunteer, cheap fire department. Competent people, they're volunteers, which is very common in small towns across America. They took it over and they created a $16 million budget. $100,000 jobs. People don't even have a high school diploma. And nothing wrong with not having a high school diploma, but it doesn't qualify you for a $100,000 job. And many, many people had these jobs. Many didn't even live in Sedona. They lived down in Phoenix and they commuted. Wrecked the town. Today the budget is extremely high. And they do this through, they rig the vote. The votes are rigged during the counting process. And this is just being done. Again, now these people are anti-Christian bigots of the worst kind. They hate bigotry. And you could see that when they changed the Easter egg officially to a holiday egg. And they're laughing when they do this. And I believe personally they're going to lose all their money. All the people who made this dark money in Sedona, a spiritual place, they're going to lose it. Everybody's going to lose everything. And I basically didn't leave Sedona with any money. And I worked hard. And these people, if you are working hard and you knew what was happening, they would smear you in everything they do. Everything they do. And good luck. Anyway, this person founded it, and a lot of people went through Sedona, and people would tell them the vortexes didn't exist, it was all made up. And quite frankly, they do exist. They're very good for spiritual tools. You go out there and say prayers and things of that nature. They can help you, especially if you're getting over addictions and things. And the vortexes are free. These people put parking meters on it. And I'm really angry at them, what they did to the town. A very spiritual place.